Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by BlackRifleCoffee.com.
Ross wasn't ready.
I was ready.
Ross was not ready. His dick was not ready.
I was ready the whole time.
No,
I'm always ready.
no,
We got
no,
Marcus Luttrell here, by the way. You want to talk about being ready? Have you heard about the porn bone survivor by any chance?
No.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
I don't know who's playing you.
You're kidding.
I don't know who's playing you. Yeah.
Is that real?
That's a real thing?
That's what I heard.
And you don't have it here playing?
I walk into the office this morning. They were like, "Hey, Marcus Luttrell's on the show." I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Man, I got a question for him." I was like, "Fire away! I'll ask it right off the gate." And he goes, "Bone Survivor, the porn is. Does he know about it?" And I was like,
Wow.
You know, we'll lead with that. We'll lead with that."
That was it. Zach and Miriam Make a Porno was on TV the other day, so I guess that's how you know you've made it, right?
So then I don't have to explain to you how to double Dutch rudder later.
No.
Yes, perfect. You're already in. We're already in.
Wait, I'm feeling left out now. I want to pay someone to pretend to be me.
You can. Come on in, Evan Hafer.
Hey.
Come on in, Evan. We got a
That guy.
seat lined up for you. You want to pay someone to be you?
We're
live.
We're
Oh,
live.
yeah,
Come on in.
yeah.
Just pick up grab a thing.
Yeah, just put him on your FaceTime.
Why not? So for those of you who are listening to the audio show and not the video show, Evan Hafer walked in. Evan, who do you got? Mic him.
Yeah, just put the mic at the bottom of
up
your
to
when he
him.
talks. Put the mic.
Clint Romashade.
There you go.
Yeah, he's sit right here.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right.
the pocket will work out.
Clint, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Is this got to be a podcast
The
first?
Heroes episode.
Excluding Ross.
Obviously.
You're a hero in your
I
own
was a
mind.
hero in the food service industry. Those people at Papa John's got my best every day I was there.
Well,
I want you to know
Gene
that.
Vandenham was a hero.
Yeah, I've played a
Best in
hero.
class.
I've
You played a hero
on TV.
Yeah.
Good times.
You should.
Good times.
Gene Vandenham should
You're
write
the
a
reason
book.
guys joined the military.
Right.
Is that true? Do you think
That
that's
was
true?
the best line ever. I mean, that line in itself made more sense. And I loved watching that whole deal, and it's hilarious. But when you guys dropped that line in that cabin, it's like, man, that's guys like that give us back. He's like, man, it's guys like that why I joined. And that's true. I mean, it is, right? I mean,
I'm going to go out there and say that there has to be at least one person in the last 3 years since that film has been released that has joined the movie because of Gene Vandenham. At
Join
least
the military?
one.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah.
Join the movie.
Well, I mean, I've had at least, I would say, around a dozen people write in saying they joined because of the movie.
I've had a dozen people write in and complain that I joined because of your story and I'm miserable.
That's a great point, by the way. Do you get that of like, hey, man, we saw the movie and it looked super cool, but when we got there, it wasn't that cool.
This is the way I try to describe, like Red Wing, for instance. Imagine any sport that you play, football game, and then trying to do it on the side of a mountain.
That's rocks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, in the movie, we get the choreograph and the fall, but the stuntman, obviously, that was pure falls. But I mean, think about it like this: most everybody in here has been in a fight, and you know how we are about our gear. Right? You lose a radio, you lose crypto, you're done. Start of that fight, I had all of that. By the end of it, I was naked. Them dudes whipped my ass till I was naked. All right, and I just had my rifle left. And that's kind of the best way I can explain it. I mean, granted, I came out wearing their uniform with a smile, but
I bet you look
lost
good
everything.
naked, though.
I
bet someone like down there, I'm like, man, that's a handsome
gentleman.
That's
Can you
an
imagine when
American
the
bod
Dodgers
right
found
there.
me? Like, oh, we got some huge naked white dude down here, man. What's going on?
A naked white man down here
laying
in the
in my
village.
river. Yeah, laying in my river, right? I mean, just coming over the hill and there's some dude.
It was 2 years later. My buddy Kevin Crooner found your helmet, and he mailed it. Did you have it?
I have it.
He
So-
mailed it to you. Yeah.
No, it made it to Warcom. I was just messing with that the other day, man. That's crazy that made that back.
Well, they found it when they were up in there, and
cash, exactly.
he found it.
And I got called to Warcom. Something done by the admiral, and so I walked in and I said I thought I was in trouble. You can see the old man unless you're. I was like, I don't remember screwing up, man. But anyways, he's like, got something for you. And he pulled it out of his desk drawer and slid it across the table, his desk at me, and I go, what? Where did you get that? And he goes, boys found it in a cache. And, I said, please tell me some dude was wearing it, and one of the guys busted it off his head. He's like, no, we found it in a cache with a lot of our other gear. But that was years later, man.
Yeah, it was 3 years later.
Wow, 3 years later.
I have it. Yeah. I lost it in the fall. It was my Protec, so that's what I roped in with.
Yeah.
And short patrolled with. So I had it hooked to the back of my my pack. And when we started to fall, all that all that went away. I can't believe
That's a
they
miracle
found
that
in
still
there.
exists.
I mean, it was like a yard sale down that mountain. 4 dudes worth of gear. You know how much gear we pack in on recon, anyways. And it was just scattered all over the place.
That's crazy. Matt lost his kid on Range 15, actually.
Oh. No, that is true. If anybody knows where that is, my
Your battle belt?
that
Yeah.
I had.
Your real
and
one?
well, I carried it in the agency for nearly 5 years, and then
dude,
and then
somebody's
I
got that
wore it in the
one.
movie, and then somebody just fucking
we
jacked it.
found Evan's dick on eBay.
Yeah,
I can
we
just
did.
imagine the dudes that have been masturbating to that for the last.
Probably
couple
somebody
of
wears
years,
that at
just
night.
like
They wear it
wearing
at night, yeah.
What, my battle belt?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, that'd be pretty cool. I guess no.
If you got a video of some guy with it on, just sport fucking, would you be like, hey, man, can I have the belt back or can I have some more videos?
Be like, nice dong. Can I have the battle belt?
It looks
back?
way better on you than it did me. Keep it.
Marcus, the other thing I want to get into right off the get here is your wife showed us pictures of 2 beautiful giraffes. I thought you guys had gone to Africa or something.
Right? Yeah, no,
but
right.
those are living with you.
They are. Can you believe that?
No.
I know,
How does
I
one
can't
get a
either.
giraffe?
I know, and then you got 2.
That's some Michael Jackson shit.
Petunia and Jeffrey.
I just
That's their
can't.
names?
I can't wait.
Well, that's what
Arthur.
Well, okay,
Really?
Toys R Us just shut down.
Your wife is correcting you.
Toys R Us.
Thank you. Toys R Us. We didn't get to go in there very much, so when we did, the giraffes. So when I saw him, that's what I call him, Jeffrey. It's what is it, Arthur? Arthur. He's real social. He can go up and she
Do you go to Walmart and say, "Hey, where's the giraffe food at?" do you have any? Do you have any? You know,
Well, you only
80-pound
do it-
bags
you
of
only do it
giraffe
once.
feed?
I like that. You're at Tractor Supply. You're like, I need some corn feed, some scented corn,
some
a little bit of
giraffe feed.
alfalfa, and some giraffe.
I'm sorry. So you have a giraffe? No, I have 2 giraffes.
You 2
Let's get that
giraffes.
straight.
Imagine
Let's get
hauling
that
them in
out.
a trailer.
Oh, boy.
How do you do that? Are their heads up?
Don't go through the overpass.
Yeah, you got to
that's
take
the
all
problem.
side streets, right?
No, yeah, you put them in and then kind of get them comfortable and they kneel down and it's a whole process. But I was Axe the other day. I was looking. He got back from school and I was like, son, we're going up to Lazy J and he started talking about the giraffes. Like, you know how many people have pet giraffes? He's like, nobody. I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
Always remember that. Stay humble. And matter of fact, don't tell anybody that we have them because they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
The only thing that's left is to paint one.
Well, we got to chase them down. Yeah. Next time we're out at the ranch,
To have a green giraffe.
I like that's the stay humble line. Hey, just because we have giraffes doesn't mean that you can't work hard. Just everybody gets giraffes. Like, you got to work your hardest in this life to get a giraffe. Do you have a zebra?
we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, can you?
I just said there's a joke.
Can you ride the zebras?
No,
I really want to ride a zebra.
Yeah, I would. I'm gonna. As a matter of fact, when we get there, go out and try and pet one of them. That'll be your little test. See how that goes
Do they
down.
run or just kick you?
Are they crazy?
No, they can get pretty ornery, but they don't. Once you get over the berm and around in there where they're running around, they keep their distance. A lot of the animals will come up, but for the most part, it's wild out there. I mean, it's just besides kind of really Jeffrey or Arthur. He's the one that
Serengeti.
It is. I mean, you literally come around the corner there, and the Lion King music starts playing when the sun's coming up. It's pretty majestic, man.
And that's something you guys wanted to do.
I kind of just unfolded, if you will. From our ranch, just kind of the neighbor next door had a big game ranch, and he died. So we took control of that and the animals that were there, and then the giraffes just kind of came in after that.
Yeah, what's shipping
He
cost on
died.
a
That's a
giraffe?
very diplomatic way of condensing that story.
Yeah, this guy was something else. But Dr. Brown, he's a hand surgeon. I mean,
you told me that whole story.
Yeah, but you remember the
Fucking
pictures?
crazy. Yeah.
That time we were there,
Yeah.
that place is nuts, right?
It was fucking crazy, dude.
What's
That place
crazy?
is-
What's crazy about it?
So the first time I met Marcus, my buddy Tage had called and said, "Hey, do you want to come and do some hunting down in Texas?" And I was like, "Sure, man, I'll come down." And it was at your place. You're having that
Crawfish boil,
feed.
yeah.
Yeah, or the boil. And
I'll be there. Yeah.
we didn't
yeah.
do any hunting, but we got fucking wrecked. Like we.
Michael Barrett brought that moonshine out there, and
Yeah.
everybody got.
There's always one guy, isn't there?
It was
downhill.
like blind drunk, and it was a good experience. It was really fun. But we drove around on the property out there, and that fucking place is crazy. You had the cathedral area.
Yeah, so there's a
Crazy
huge
place,
waterfall
man.
in the Roman hot tub that seats
Yeah.
100 people. I mean,
What?
Really?
Yeah, dude.
100-person hot tub?
Man.
Let me tell you something. This guy was all time, man. There's a fine line between being eccentric and crazy, and it's
Yeah.
money, right? So
Yeah.
he had a lot of that. Remember the barns out there?
Awesome.
There's 3 of them, and one of them is like a Bally's Fitness.
Yeah.
This is like we need
on the property.
Film our next movie out there.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's insane, man.
he was awesome. I mean, that property's fucking epic. He's driving around. He's like, well, these are the stables. And I was like, holy shit. And even the background with that guy, because, I mean, obviously, he fell off a cliff of craziness.
It is something,
And,
man. He had all these pictures, these professional pictures taken and then framed. And I'm talking from the size of a truck window to a huge stand-up mirror. And I mean professionally done. But the crazy part was, like, one of them was him standing in the shower. He had this Elvis black studded jacket on with a guitar between his legs. He's flexing real hard, turning around like this. And then one was he was sitting there. The wife was in front of me, was peeling an apple. I mean, just the most random.
Cocaine is a hell of a
love
drug,
shit
my
like
friend.
that.
Is
It's
it
like in my
an-
language now.
An oil painting kind of thing?
No, not that high speed, but definitely a professional photographer
photo.
and framed.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a actual photo.
Like a glamour shot.
Oh.
That's
I
great.
say we do that either way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Why don't we
Just
do
need
that
one of those for these-
when we have amazing guests come in the Drinking Bros podcast from now on? We'll take glamour shots and then we'll just fucking line the walls with the most
If you
epic
set up
80s
a
glamour shots.
a glamour shot studio,
Yeah.
just in one of these rooms,
Yeah.
with just like a simple wardrobe rack of like one motorcycle
Today.
jacket.
Yeah.
He's got everything sitting over there, ready
Oh
to go.
my God, that would be the all time. Then you can just line the wall with all the guests as their glamour shots. Like that could be the wall. Of
The
fame.
laser, the double exposure.
Yeah,
like-
Yeah, double exposure. Yeah. I'm about that life.
That would be
Absolutely.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so we just that section of his property kind of hooked into ours, and I mean he kept it perfectly manicured. You've been out there, man, the roads and just the animals in itself. 23 different kinds of African game, plus the deer population and the wild hogs that run through
And
there.
you own all of it now?
Yeah,
Holy shit. Do you have a 100-person hot tub?
we do.
God, that's great.
The waterfall is the craziest
fit
thing
so
because
many
you just
guys in
come
there.
down this huge embankment, and I mean it's a waterfall, and there's a huge concrete that rolls around it, and then these big Gothic stairs, and old English lamp post. I mean, it looks like something.
Are they
seen in a
recycling
cult, right?
the water for the waterfall?
It comes out. It does. It comes out of the ground. Yeah, it's well fed.
Oh, damn.
My God, man.
You're not going to believe it.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
go to this
sweet.
place.
I want to go.
Sweet.
I
go.
want to
Sweet.
move.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, each one of the barns is probably 100. What's 100 by 50? You can play football in it, and there's the valleys, and on the other side there's a basketball court, and then it just gets weirder from there. I mean,
How did it come to you? Was there an understanding of like, hey, because I know when Hugh Hefner died, just speaking of somebody who's eccentric, the guy next door had bought Hugh's place.
same thing.
Oh, same thing. Okay, cool. So, because when Hugh passed away, then it went to him, and that was that. So,
What was it?
um,
What's it?
oh, yeah, no.
I don't want to screw this up. But when he died, it went into when the land went up for sale and whatnot. We got it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I didn't know if he left it to you, like, hey, man, you're the only person who can do this.
He wasn't that cool. no, he wasn't that cool.
He didn't even throw in a draft for free?
No, matter of fact, there was some bear. They had bear and
Really?
and some cats out there as well. But
Like lions, right?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what website do you go to find a giraffe?
you'd be surprised where you. Where'd you
Giraffes
Oh, there's a
only
giraffe
dot com.
broker?
Yeah, there's brokers. Wild game.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
wild game broker.
Marcus, his wife, just said there's a wild game broker.
Yeah.
What are those guys like, I wonder?
They're pretty sweet.
We know those
Are they?
guys.
Yeah, we deal
know
with
Wiley.
You know what dude up in Fredericksburg? That's all he does is like he goes out on ranches and traps these exotics, and then transports them
Trapper,
to
is
another.
it?
Yeah, it's Trapper.
Yeah,
Trapper
I've stayed
Burkett.
at his
That's
house.
what he does.
Wow.
He goes up in a fucking helicopter with a net gun,
Net,
shoots
yeah.
these damn things, and loads them up in a trailer and takes them to the next ranch or whatever it is. That's his job. That's what he does.
That's how you get it. So when you get a high fence in like Texas or whatever, you can go to these brokers and you're like, hey, I want 2 eland or 3 eland, 2 females, 1 male that are good genetics that will breed.
Okay.
I want, 2 axis males with, 5 doe or whatever the case. And then as those breed on your property, they'll actually trap them on the property, sell them to other properties for, 2x of what they're worth. And then you have to incorporate feed costs and all that over the years. But the Texas like game stuff is pretty crazy. It's good for conservation, but it's wild. It's like it's poker out there sometimes.
Wow.
Like you'll get a whitetail with good genetics at 3 years old by fucking 6.5. That thing could go for $20,000-$25,000. You bought it for let's say $1,800 with what $2,000-$3,000 in feed costs over those years. It's pretty crazy business, but a lot of people are really fucking good at it, and it's wild.
So if you were rich enough, what would you get then?
Oh yeah, I'd have like 5,000 acres, probably high fenced with all the animals. I'd have my own helicopter too.
There'd be
Right?
fucking honey badgers in there.
Yeah, I'm not saying I would
There'd be some
breed
guys living in
hogs.
there.
Fire ants. It's going to import fire.
I wouldn't. I would definitely have a healthy hog population just to murder them. Like it would just be murder season.
You don't have to buy those; they're everywhere.
Jan and
It's become a
Feb.
problem.
Not murder. Eradication to sustain the.
Well, they do
the
billions
lands.
of dollars worth of damage in the
Yeah.
around Texas in itself, and I mean they're man, what is it? It's 6 months. All the piglets they had are ready to have piglets at 6 months, and
Yeah.
they just keep. And
Really?
Man, yeah. If you see one, there's usually a family of them, and they do, man. They tear up. You can't even drive a tractor over the whatever it is you're trying to plant.
Do you guys
once they
have
get
to
in
kill
there.
a lot of those
Yeah,
on your
you
property?
cut them back pretty hard.
Do you?
Mhm.
Do you guys helicopter on up there?
No, not yet. It's funny because Charlie, we were talking to whoever gets their helicopter license first. You're the pilot. Yeah. And then we'll get a Huey, put some recliners, weld those on
Yeah.
the side, have a good time with it.
There we go.
All right.
Well,
There were some
take up the little
A
bird.
model Blackhawks for sale recently that for a good price actually.
We should check that out because we got the Humvees and we got the drones. So, we scout out and move out. But if you got that aerial, I mean, you guys have hunted out of a helo. It's not even, of course we found out a helo.
Fitting
That's
four across though and a Blackhawk on each
did
side.
it for a
That would be
living.
great.
You know how easy it is to spot stuff from up there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Marcus again hunting with his Blackhawk helicopter.
Listen, guys, I gotta go hunting and I gotta pick up a few things.
You gotta go
to
hunting with
north
a
of Grumman
minigun?
and just get some, Bell, north of Grumman, the standard hunting locations to pick up my wares.
That wouldn't that be the thing, right? So you have a Huey or a Blackhawk, and you just fly off from your front porch on the way to like HEB, and you just murder a couple hogs on the way, or eradicate a few hogs, get your groceries for the day, and fly back. That's where I want to be in life. Nothing else matters. to me.
Helicopters, I guess that's the status thing right there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice.
And
Man.
the owner of HEB, so he has Blackhawk helicopter parking.
Right front.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
that's
maybe in the
yeah.
back. You don't want to dust up.
That's
Yeah,
why I love
right.
Texas. Is because like when people get a little bit of money and like in your position, like you did cool shit with it. It's like I feel like L.A. New Yorkers, they buy a condo for $9 million, and if that's your cup of tea, sure, I don't drink tea. But like Texas money does the coolest fucking shit. They're always like buying helicopters and Humvees and giraffes.
Giraffes.
I'm like, man,
I want that
Miniguns.
I wanna
giraffe
be
money.
friends.
I need that giraffe money, dog.
Dude, that's a good song. I got that giraffe money.
No, that's the music video we film on his property.
Yeah.
Hey man, how's he rolling?
I'm staying humble, but I got a fucking giraffe.
He's giraffe rich.
Giraffe rich motherfucker.
And you start buying jewelry for him, like real big necklaces.
For the giraffe, yeah. They're just rolling around.
Yeah, your
Teeth are all iced out.
Giraffes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some Jordans
Have
on them.
bling.
Yeah.
Custom made giraffe Jordans.
Some Air Max 95s on those things.
The trick is the land because we're not making any more of that. So,
No.
And you're right, man. The closer you get to the city, the less land, but the more you have to pay. And there's just something about it. When we were talking about this the other day, when you get your house and you get some land to kind of that's perfect for us because it's something to do. If you're not working your property, then you're kind of being lazy. And man, it just gives you that sense of home and place to go back to. Because even if they take the house away from us, you got the land, you can camp on it. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So it's that was a smart thing. Melanie's dad, that was his biggest thing, man. Just land. They're not making any more of it.
Yeah, real estate. Speaking of real estate, you go to a lot of places all over the country. You speak at a lot of sports teams,
Yeah.
which is my jam.
Yeah.
Who have you talked to recently that's in contention right now?
So my brother I grew up with, he's a strength coach at UT now, or excuse me, OU. And I just went up there and I'm with them. I was with
Tyler Murray and those
I
guys?
talked to the Titans, yeah. A&M, Coach Fisher just got pulled over from Florida State.
Yep.
And he's the one that kind of got me into talking to he's one of the first ones. So kind of
Really?
I'm loyal to him. He taught me a lot. So,
Jimbo Fisher.
yeah, now he's at A&M, and then I have a son at LSU, so I go there.
Are you going to that LSU Bama game?
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
there.
Okay, game day, man.
Yeah. Are you doing game day?
Yeah, me and my brother will all be up there, so I'll call you when we get there.
No way.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, it's gonna be fun,
That's
man.
going to be a big one. Yeah, everybody's coming out for that.
I got to fly out that right before the game to go. I think I'm going to New York for Boxing Friends veteran deal or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it'll be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh, man. Really looking forward to that. Because I know you spoke with Bama a few years back, right before they won the national championship, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Before that, I've had I kind of select, right? I just don't go across the board, so I pick a certain amount of teams, and usually the ones that I've been with. So Florida State, obviously, when Jimbo was there, and then Alabama, Oregon was one of them.
You need to come up to Ohio State and get those boys.
Oh, I've
in
already
shape.
been there.
Oh, have you with Urban?
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of brought me in the beginning too. So I think I've was it 5 national championships now.
God, that's crazy.
But
You're the good luck charm. They should have you every year.
The great part about it is at the beginning of the year when I do my physical therapy, I go down and live at Exos, right?
In Florida, right?
All right, and man, the combine kids are going there. And we started a program called the Eagle Fund. It puts guys like us back online instead of getting out, kind of rotations, rotating back in.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for about 13 years. I think I'm crunching the numbers. About a quarter of the league has come underneath my my watch, if you will. It's kind of evolved into a mental coach because you got those guys who are going into the combine, and then you got straight up warriors who've been injured, right, and who are trying to get back online. And that mind melt. And we get in their heads, and every year, first rounds, second round.
That's amazing. Do you watch the draft and say,
absolutely,
those are my kids?
And then I keep in touch with them while they're in the league throughout. I mean, I think Clowney was one of my first classes to kind of give you an idea about how far back that goes.
Jadavion, he was number one pick.
Oh, yeah, and Ebron, Gurley. Man, all those guys.
You got Todd Gurley?
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, man.
You're just listing off my fantasy dream team.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's wonderful because they're our titans, right? They really are, man. They're the kind of the pinnacle of human performance outside of the military and the civilian world. You know, if everything fell apart, man, we definitely go into those branches and pull them out. I mean, we still build coliseums around our gladiators. We stick the swords out of their hands and put a football in there. It's basically the seat of their immortality, man. They have to rush that over to their sideline, kind of get in their head about, like, the screams in the stands. Imagine that. It's like your family dying. Because this army's coming in to invade us in our town. And you just twist it because literally...
Most brutal fucking speech before the game. This war, you're in a coliseum.
No wonder all these
They're
kids
coming
keep
to
winning.
rape and pillage.
Half
They're
the
like,
team
oh, God, I gotta
resigns and
fucking score.
joins
Marcus
the
today.
Navy. They're just like, fuck it.
Yeah, Notre
do
Dame.
it.
They're one of. I was with them last year, but I did that for LSU, Alabama. I think it was last year when they held them all the way because Alabama, they're just a great team. I mean, Coach Saban, it was tougher to get into his office than it was the White House. So,
is that true?
Yeah. I mean,
I heard he keeps it really
professional.
Yeah,
that's
across
the way it
the board.
works. Across the board, man. He doesn't mess.
And look at the same food every day. Wears the same clothes. You
look at the outcome, man. I mean, I'm sure some of that's a little bit exaggerated, but I don't think his wife would let him walk around in the same clothes day in, day out. But, man, he gets into it. He's all business. He's a general.
Yeah.
He's a definite general, man. And, it was amazing to watch that whole thing unfold. And then when LSU played Alabama, that was kind of in a pickle because my son I married into an LSU family. And so I went in and talked to LSU for a little bit, and they held him all the way. It was when Coach O we first came in there against Alabama, and at the very end, Alabama was just good, man. They're tough. They're tough players. I mean, you better put the work in if you're going to go up against them.
I don't think anybody's beating that team this year. That's me personally, but you're one of those guys who pops up everywhere, all over TV and all that stuff. I saw you on an episode of Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, I've known
seriously?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Here's what I want for these guys because I don't know who keeps fucking this up, but like to me, Black Rifle Coffee should be the next Duck Dynasty on television. Like, how was it working with those guys, and how is it with these guys?
I've known them before Duck Dynasty.
Oh wow!
Oh, absolutely. They're the greatest family ever. I mean, they were talking about how we pulled some kids in to mentor. They do that across the board. And Willie and Corey, man, we're real close with them. They're fantastic in everything they do. And it's one of those deals they'll call up and be like, hey, what are y'all doing? You want to come down? And we travel with them. And
is it real? Like, is it
absolutely?
Well, like as far as who they are in the show versus real life.
Oh, that's what you're getting, right?
Is it really?
Absolutely. I mean,
because you never know whether or not they've bought into the character,
right? But the way you kind of contest that is if everyone loves them, if it's genuine. Because eventually, I mean, humans are smart, man. You can start to peer through the crap, and if it's not on the level, and they're just a genuine family, and their life it produces those fantastic stories on a daily basis because of how far they've evolved in our country, and they're really something, man. And I'm on the road a lot. You're right, about 300 days a year, I guess, and I've been doing that for a while. But that's the best part about it. I thought getting out of the military was going to slow you down, but I got kind of put into a new platoon, right? I got put out to our people, man, and they teach me more about life and living. And I mean, I could truly testify to how great everyone is and how important they are to each one of us, even if you don't know what they do. I mean, there's a lot of times I walk in, I was like, I never even heard of this. But the beautiful part about it is, because I was reconnaissance, my job was to study people, but then take them down. I still get the same write-up and dossier and all that stuff, and I read now. I go in, I know the leadership, where their strengths and weaknesses, and I go in and try and build them up.
Yeah.
And
you flying commercial or private on all these
Kid
trips?
flies United.
Really?
No, I figured, man, I understand what how I pull my weight around here, and I kind of, all of us have wrath, right? That's our sin, and we learn how to control it. And I'm no good to anybody in a plane by myself, so I like being around our people, man. They teach me so much. I'm not a simpleton, man. I'm not ignorant, but I'm not special by any means. I surround myself with special people.
Yeah, I just figured traveling that much out of the year, like going through TSA every day.
I know all of them. So
buddies with all TSA.
When they see you coming in, I just you can have the Clear, Global Express, and all that TSA pre-check. But then when I come in out of the country, man, the guys that work the gate at in customs, man, they just see me and kind of shuffle me in. They still check I would always want them to do that. I'll never. But
how is Clear? Do you do Clear?
I do.
I haven't signed up for yet. Is it worth it?
You do it.
It is till everybody else gets on it, and then I'll have to get something new. Because a lot of times you go in the TSA, the Clear line's longer than the regular line, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over here, like, well, sir, you're Clear.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this line's shorter. Check this one out.
Yeah.
And but the boss has everything streamlined. Before I was married, you know how it works. The travels one day, then you do your deal, then you stay the night, and then so I would travel in the day before, and then hang out with the group, and then do my deal, and speak, and then hang out with them again, have even more fun, and just move to the next city.
Yeah.
But now I get up. She gives me my marching orders in the morning. So
the
I'll get
boss
up.
is your wife, by the way.
Right.
Just clarifying that for the audience.
Oh, yeah.
The all of us have a boss.
Right.
Well, except for Jared, obviously, but
we're good.
He's right there.
Yeah, we're professional at taking orders.
He tells me what I'm allowed to eat, when I'm allowed to eat, when I'm not allowed to eat anything from the sea.
that's a lie. You bought 10 chicken sandwiches right there. 10.
Yeah, but that's not seafood.
Bought 10.
That's not seafood.
When? Today?
Oh, yeah.
God.
Before and you had Chick-fil-A in there. And he goes, not enough. I'm going to go myself and grab my own satchel.
Yeah, well, that's Jared. As long as it's not seafood, that's the problem. Is if I'm
allergic?
around, I make sure that he doesn't eat that.
I'm not allergic. I love it. But he just,
As long
make
as
sure
it's
I'm not
not
ordering it in
Red
Nebraska.
Lobster.
He loves ordering questionable seafood. It's not a matter of
If
seafood.
there was a seafood vending machine, I would use
I'd be
it.
like, oh, look
So
at
you order
that.
seafood in the middle of the country at a steakhouse.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, boy. Whenever you're like that's where he likes to go. Denver. Great. Let's have that sushi.
No, there
You're
was.
like,
They had
where are you getting that fresh
Bayou
fish?
Bob's. They had the best crawfish in Denver.
Boy, they
He's
do
in
not.
Springfield, Missouri, at a strip club ordering sashimi. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't, bud.
Top of the line.
Let's steer clear of that.
What you've had to have the most interesting meals in America traveling that much.
Where's some?
You're
Where's some of your favorites?
you're like Guy Fieri. Like you've had to have been to all the diners, drive-ins, and dives at this point.
Oh yeah, I make sure I hit them when I go into a town. Like I said, back before I was married, I would, instead of staying at the hotels that they put us in, I'd kind of creep out to the firehouses, especially in New York. Or I would call any of the guys with the badges on and be like, "Hey, I'm in town. You guys want to go out and do whatever?" And they'll show you where the good restaurants are. I mean, you got the high, then obviously the ones you know, but then there's the hidden gem, right? The home cooking.
That's what I'm about.
Man,
Yeah.
There's
I don't
a place
go to the
in
5-star ones. I go for like the hole in the walls that it's like grandma's cooking up some fucking biscuits and gravy for me.
Man, there's a place
I
called.
always try to look up like what anytime we're in a new city, I try to look up what restaurants have been on shows, like the specials and stuff.
Yeah,
like
what's yours? What's your favorite that nobody really knows about? That's off the beaten path.
Man, there's a place called Mertz in Charlotte, and it's a soul food restaurant, and it's so good. Anytime I'm anywhere near that state, I'll try and get over there.
You'll hit it.
I will. And then, believe it or not, man, in Amsterdam, there's a steakhouse, a Chinese food, and one other, man, that it is fantastic. I mean, when we go overseas on trips, I make sure we swing through there just so we can eat there. That kind of good.
Legit.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
That's super legit.
But
Yeah,
just, you name this. You name the town or the city, and
let's go New York City.
New York City, man. I ate
Peter
no food
Luger's.
there
You
the
go to
other
Peter
day.
Luger's for steak at all?
What's that?
Peter Luger's for steak?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all those top end Smith and Walensky's, Ruth Chris, they all have great food. No Boob, man. Like I said, that one was really good. That's the last one we hit. There's a place in, I go eat with Italian food. I can never remember this place. I go eat with Anderson Cooper. It's an Italian place owned by the...
Oh, Eight Coops. Yeah, we're old bros.
Man, yeah. I mean, Coop with this. I think it's... Hey, Melly, what's the name of that Italian restaurant we go eat at all the time?
With Anderson Cooper? You know, the guy who hosts CNN and all that stuff?
Yeah.
With A Coops?
Yeah, A Coops.
He hangs out with B Coops, Bradley Cooper, a lot. Olive Garden.
Olive
Garden.
Yeah. Two coops. When
Yeah.
Bradley and
There's a couple
Anderson
of
are
them in there.
together, it's just the two coops.
One down from the Roosevelt Hotel. There's a ninja restaurant in New York City where there's little ninjas in there that stick swords out.
Yes.
Of the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What?
What?
Yeah, I want to go there. Do you have dodge swords?
Man.
There's a ninja restaurant. There's a blind restaurant. Do you know the blind one where you go in? There's no lights.
Yeah.
And so you have to eat by scent and all that other stuff. You can't have phones, so you've got to have conversation with whoever you're with. And yeah,
Best hot dog. Where's
I
your
would
best
go there
hot
with
dog?
you. We'd have a blast.
Who are you
So,
hanging
Ray's
out with?
Pizza
Like
in New York. And
Ray's Pizza, he says best hot dog.
And then
Really?
hot dog, basically in...
I'll agree with that. I like Ray's. Their hot dogs are fantastic. Their pizzas.
Best hot dog, and I hope Evan agrees with this, is any place at 2 a.m. in Seattle, Washington, and getting a Seattle dog, some cream cheese and onions on that
jalapenos.
bitch, and jalapenos.
Yeah.
Woo!
You're right.
That and
That
zombie
tingles
dog.
my soul.
Downtown Pioneers, like Pioneer Square.
Yeah. We do our cold weather diving
They got some
out there.
fucking legit hot dogs
awful.
down there.
And it was awful.
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
No, you can't at all.
I
And then
had
we
a
got
great
ran
time
over by a
diving out
ferry
there.
one time,
You
man.
dive in the sound?
Yeah, man, like it's cold. Dude, in a 7 mil wetsuit, drink 2 gallons of water, so you're pissing the whole time. It's
Oh,
fucking
man.
right.
Oh, dude. Right? Hey, let me tell you something. The dry suit, the first time I put a dry suit on to dive in that,
Yeah.
we're walking up and they're handing out the condoms to put on in the dry suit so it goes out the side right there. And you walk up and you're like, what size? I'm like, large, man. Give me that large condom, man. I'll put that on right there. You get in that water. All right, the first dive. Next day when I went in to get my condom, I was like, I'll take that extra small condom right there, man.
Yeah.
Because,
your dick runs back into your
and
body.
that thing just
like-
goes right off, right? So and it's absolutely miserable because that is some cold water. So
See-
I switched to my 7 mil as well.
That's why I never wanted to be a Navy
That's it.
SEAL.
I would be driving out to go dive out in Alki, right off of Alki in West Seattle, and I would no shit drink 2 fucking gallons of water on my way out. So I'd be just fucking chugging it because I'm like, all right, dude, this is gonna be fucking cold. And yeah, for a good 45 minutes, an hour, you're pissing the whole time. You at least warm up.
Yeah, you warm up
You
there.
warm up a little
Man,
bit.
I was under for about 6.5 to 9 hours
does it.
on that dive. It's the only time.
You're just doing navs?
Everything.
God.
So you name it, man. Just over the horizon, long transit, then over the beach, reconnaissance, snatch and grabs, all that stuff like that. But that's the only place we'd ever got pulled out of the water because of the orcapods.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's it,
Would
man.
the orcapods attack you?
No. Well, no. They pull us out of the water because they're orcapod. You don't, especially if they have a calf. You don't mess with that. But you see all kinds of wildlife down there. Every time we'd open up the canopy, dolphins, sharks, octopus.
Yeah,
The first time I saw one of
octopus.
those octopus
Fucking
down there, man.
crazy down there, dude.
It was.
Yeah. And the seals too.
Mhm.
The seals will fucking
Oh man,
fuck
like-
with you. And
Like mammal seals or
not,
Navy
not
seals?
Navy seals.
well, no, yeah.
Oh.
Once the real seals,
Got
then
it.
Once we
The
incorporate
ones.
Yeah.
see who the
Okay.
top seal is.
Yeah.
When they start
Try
messing
to
with
fist bump them like, bro, it's about seals. What's up, dude?
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about peeing in the suits, somebody asked me to ask you about the poop suppressor.
Depends, diaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time, when we're getting dressed, like he said, man, the gallons of water, and plus you have to get dressed super slow so you don't start sweating because then it just kind of you start getting cold. But I mean, you got so much gear on that it's almost impossible. And then once you hit that water, it hits your toe, just everything freezes up, man. And it's the catheter, and then once that thing started blowing out because we were underwater so long, we went to the Depends, and then you just don't eat before that. You make sure you get all that cleaned out of your system. But if it happens, it kind of happens. You just suck it up and Charlie Mike.
Oh God, that's a long day though, right?
Yeah, it is, man. It's
How long are you in that thing?
When you go down and the
9
sun's
hours.
up and then you come up.
Dude.
and the sun's
God.
up.
I always I've been fascinated by SDV. By the first time I was working with a dude that was on SDV, and it was interesting because I didn't know a fucking thing about it. I was like, "Oh fuck, are you serious? Tell me all about this." And he's like, "You want to know nobody wants to know about this.
Right,
You know?
so
And
in
I'm
the
like, dude, I gotta fucking know. Like, you're on a submarine and fucking driving around. You're like, and I'm imagining this whole thing where I'm like, dude, this has got to be the most epic shit in the world. You're down in a fucking submarine. You can see everything. He's like, no, you can't see anything, you fucking dumbass. You can't see fucking 3 inches in front of your face. Or
It's dark
whatever.
and
It's dark. You're
water.
under there for hours. Fuck, dude, it's brutal. And I'm like, that sounds less cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everyone avoids it like the plague, but if you kind of keep that mentality, like I did, like,
Right.
I mean, it's funny because I was watching Navy SEAls, right? And
Yeah.
what I was watching is what actually recruited me to go into the SEAL teams. But when I had to do it in real life, it was terrible, right?
It's so hard.
It's so
Yet
hard.
another movie that's ruined
So
people's
hard.
lives.
But if you start to think about it like that, that's what gets you. But you're right, man. It's the hardest job in the teams, hands down. But it's when you get done, you realize. So locking onto a submarine, we sleep in the torpedo tubes 22 days, and then in between that, man, we lock into that chamber for 3-4 hours. And when they swing that back door open, if it's a full moon, you can see.
Right.
And if it's a daytime, you see things like you can't even imagine.
Right.
The only way you can see it is if you were in a shipwreck.
Right.
We're the only ones that are allowed to do
Yeah.
that. So I mean, jumping off the back of a nuclear submarine and swimming in 2 miles in a hurricane off the off unknown waters and over the beach, and then, I mean, we're the only ones that on the sails, the masts on the sub.
Yeah.
When they come up out of the water, we're standing on top of that.
Yeah.
I mean, how sexy is that, right?
No, it's fucking badass. That's
It
the
is,
thing.
man.
Like,
It truly is. I mean, first time I almost ever got killed was doing sub ops. I got an AGE. I got arterial gas embolism. And we were doing interop with the Brits. And we had a catastrophic loss of the boat. And we kind of folded off the cradle, off the back of the sub.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going up, we went down past the nuclear. I was sitting on the outside of it. The Brit was driving. And what I didn't know was we got in this water column. And we were going so fast that it pulled my regulator out of my mouth. But I still had the bit in there.
Right.
And when I took a breath, I felt the water.
Oh, shit.
And I was reaching in there, and I blew the tank. So we kind of did a arc, and we were coming to the surface. I was holding my breath. We were at 80 feet.
Oh, yeah.
And we were up on top, and we lost the sub, pitch black. I mean, the bottom's not even registering on the depth gauge. We lose. That's the middle of the ocean. When the full moon sets out there, and it looks like lightning spraying through there. It's the most amazing thing. And I was dizzy. Right, I was embolized. I didn't know it. I was like, all right, let's get back down. So we went back down to depth. So it's
Because you were holding your breath on your ascent.
Right, yeah. And so it shrunk that bubble back down.
Right.
And we chased the sub for probably about 4 more hours, man. And we locked in. And I finally swam into the trunk, got locked back down. And I was climbing down the ladder. And it's 15 stories. And I got to the mess deck, and the doc was standing there. And he goes, hey, we were watching you on the periscope underwater. I think we launched about 40, 50 feet or something like that. I was like, yeah, it was kind of wild. I was still jocked up.
Right.
He's like, well, I saw you hit the side of the sub. I was like, yeah, I hit my elbow a little bit. Hurts, I think. He's like, strip. So I started taking all my gear off, and I got down to my skin. And he goes, how do you feel? I was like, I feel fine. I started slurring my words. And I turned around and looked at him, I was like, uh-oh. And that's the last thing I remember. I passed out. And my doc, man, he's just a stud. Grabbed me by the foot and pulled me up, threw me on his shoulder, and crawled back up to the top into the chamber and threw me in that thing. And I went I think I was down there for 3 7-hour rides. Because every time they would pull me up, I'd embolize again. It came out into my spine and went up into my brain. It almost killed me, man. I was down for 6 months.
What does that feel like?
I just lost control of my function, my body. I couldn't move it. And then I can't say S for some reason. I guess that's the first thing that kind of goes, and that was the telltale
Interesting.
sign. And then
Wow.
they brought me
What boat
back.
was that?
I think we're on the Los Angeles. I want to say it was Los Angeles.
And is that like a lasting effect over time, or does that go away?
I don't know. You guys
after-
tell me. we had one of my officers. He was a Harvard grad. I mean, he had an AGE during pool comp in second phase, and I haven't seen him in forever, but I've heard still to this day he'll be sitting there and he'll just kind of pass out, or it can have some lasting effect, just like any other stroke.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily there was a chamber right there on the sub, so they had me in that forever. The problem was once they got me off the boat, the hospital, Tripler is on a mountain, so they couldn't take me up to the top because it would pull that thing back out.
Right.
I think I lost like 40, 50 pounds. I mean, I was offline for a while. Usually back in the day, that was a career ender. But the wars were off, so they were like, all right, suck it up the trail, get back in there. I was like, yes, sir. And I was off to Iraq, yeah.
What do you do in the chamber? You just chill in
I was
there,
just
right?
passed out.
You just lay there?
I was out.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'd come to every now and again. They'd ask me a couple of questions, and I'd pass back out.
So somebody's obviously observing you.
There's
right?
a doc in there, yeah.
Yeah.
There's two.
Oh, so there's somebody in there riding
Oh, yeah,
with
there's a
you?
corpsman in there
Gotcha.
putting IVs and
Interesting.
monitoring,
Yeah, yeah.
and they got a camera, and then he's on headphones with the doc.
Right.
So they were just
3 7-hour rides though.
And that was a
It's
good
a long
one.
time.
They don't show you that in Hunt for Red October.
No, I know, right?
Well, and Chuck Sheen makes it look way easier.
Way.
Plus, he did it with HIV.
Yeah. Well,
That shit
I
ain't
don't know
no
if he
joke.
had it back then.
maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
That was the 80s, dog.
True.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Pervasive.
Another thing, if you're rich enough, you can do anything in this world like beat AIDS.
Right.
You can have giraffes. You can also beat AIDS.
You know the other cool stories. I would pick dudes' brains all the time, and for whatever reason, I would have a lot of dudes like SDV or a few of these guys, and be like, "That's fucking badass, man." Because in the Army, you don't do shit like that unless you go to scuba school and then go onto a dive team and then blah blah blah. But and a lot of those guys do super similar things in their activities, but I didn't do that. I was on a shooting team, so I was like enamored with these fucking subs. Those subs are badass. When the dudes are telling me, like, it's so difficult to be a driver. It's like a super unique skill that if you're a good driver, like
You get stuck there.
that's where you
Right,
are.
'cause everybody
right?
else
Like,
suffers.
What makes a good
Really?
driver?
If you keep a boat on a single on a ballast,
Yeah.
at a certain depth for an extended period, because you got to think every time you go down, and you come up, your ears are popping. Your flotation goes off. So if you have somebody who can master the balance, it's because it's not dry in there; it's wet. It's submersible, not a submarine, and just like a submarine, you have to push air back and forth and manipulate the water in the air to get your ballast right.
Yeah.
And it's true. My partner JJ, he and I mean, once you get with a crew, he was a nav, I was the pilot, and you stick with each other because there's no comms. So you have to learn your own language, communicate. Right. I mean, we could eat, drink, sleep underwater. He'd laminate magazines, Snickers bars, all that kind of stuff, man. The worst thing I think that happened to us is when you get seasick underwater, because there's water columns underneath there that sometimes it'll pitch you and roll you, and the exhaust, kind of like when we're launching maybe. And if you got a full face mask on, you can just dump into that and kind of purge it out. Regulator, you spit through the valve. The Dregger's a different story because it's a closed loop. So if you get seasick on that, you got to shut it all down, pull it out of your mouth, throw up, put it back in there, purge the rig, and then go through it again. And that happened to me numerous times.
Jeez. None of this sounds fun, by the way.
This episode, Marcus Luttrell tells you why you should be a Navy
I find
SEAL.
this
Lone
shit
Survivor
super
story was
fascinating,
long,
dude.
yeah.
Like so, I'd be talking to these guys, and I spent a lot of time in cars with these dudes because we'd be out doing shit. So I'd be driving or nav or whatever, and you'd be fucking talking about all these sub stories, and he's like, "Yeah, man, like." I would eventually I'd take paperbacks and I would just rip the pages out. I started laminating books, but he's like, after a while, you stop doing that. You're just like, it's a paper it's one page. It's cost you $2 and his fucking book is deteriorating underwater and the pages are just fucking being pitched away. And he's like, yeah, I'm like, that's what you did. He's like, yeah, man, you just fucking, or he's like shoving them in a bag basically because it just deteriorates.
A lot of times the worst being in the back, because there were times where I was the smallest guy in there, and I sit down and I'll never forget when they were launching. Like, you ready? So I had to lean back, my head back, and reach back and grab an open source regulator, my secondary, and then I had my hand on my nose to Valsalva, and then they would put their foot on my neck and push me down in there like this and close that canopy. And for 9 hours, dude, you're like this
For 9 hours?
If something goes 9 hours, and the only
dude.
thing to signify that you're alive is this little red dot up that goes off because the pilot's checking on you.
Yeah.
Because up front, imagine in a modern day car, the consoles and all that, it looks like that with the and you kind of just flying that, and then you got your navigator and the reconnaissance, and but literally we would drop that thing out, leave it, come back, I'd come hauling butt down there with all my clothes in my hand and my rigs and all that, and just jump in the water and then just disappear.
Man,
It's fucking
that's
cool.
crazy. I was about to say earlier, I was like, dude, you because again, Matt's talked about this before, but like we've heard the lone survivor story. This almost sounds worse. Like,
Well, the Red Wing, that's just 1 week of my life. I've almost been killed. I don't know how many times. But
I mean, just imagine trying to throw up underwater, like
it sounds
like,
impossible.
because you know how much time too you lock up and your body is spent, but you're doing that underwater.
Yeah, that's like the reason when you look at what, branch you want to join, and I grew up on the Pacific Ocean. I was like, that shit's way cold. I can't imagine being fucking 80 feet deep. I'm good on all that.
Were you guys always on boomer classes? Were you always on nukes, or did you ever ride the fast attacks? What fast attacks did you ride?
Los Angeles, the Greenville, La Jolla. The cam got decommissioned. We were on the Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, you can walk shoulder to shoulder down the tubes. I mean, that's where we slept, right? On the fast attacks, I had to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize you kind of in the shower, for instance, if you drop the soap, you got to open the door and get out. And you got to turn the water on, get wet, turn it off. Leather. It's just that kind of deal, man. So
you miss being in a sub.
It's right,
Yeah.
man. I still got that scar from ripping my head open. I'll tell you this: the darkest place on the planet is underneath an aircraft carrier at night. And after Afghanistan, we went back to Ramadi in 06 or 07, right? And my point man, Shelly, he didn't even get a scratch. The other point man, 3 days before we were coming home, he took a round through the chest. I want to drop piss bottles off of all things in the dumpster. It came over the wall at Hurricane Point, hit him right here. Stoddard, I love you, brother. But Shelly came back, and then he was doing an SDV dive a couple weeks later, I think, maybe a couple months, and underneath an aircraft carrier, and he died.
Shit.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
I think they were up in the boat, like they were bottoming up underneath the carrier to do an attack. And the thing about an aircraft carrier, it's so huge. If you don't have a full bottle of air and you go underneath there, you get turned, you'll die. I mean, it's a floating city. It's 6,000
you're
people in the airway.
and if you go the wrong direction,
Yeah, I mean, you're a little, kind of swimming. And the suctions, you're talking about 5,000 gallons in a second. I mean, you get the reason we're tacked into somebody, you can't survive. You get ripped into a suction. That's why I mean, I tightened my headgear down so tight it made my gums bleed, just in case it got ripped off and my mask is gone. That's all right. I mean, I've done plenty of dives without my mask because they break in the beginning, but man, you can't just pull them out of that. You kind of got to roll them off like a pancake. And your buddy has to be there because it's so loud and dark, and I mean it's terrifying down there because everything swimming around, or it's pretty gnarly.
Do you miss any of that at all?
I miss the guys and that kind of lifestyle. I loved every second of it, man. It was just a blessing to be there. I mean, we got to fight in Babylon. We got to fight in Afghanistan. That was an honor to do that. I mean, that's why I kept going back. Till I couldn't, because man, who gets to do that, right? But the transitioning off the subs and it was it's hard work, man. A lot of guys in the teams. Matter of fact, I think it was right after I graduated. We were at McPee's drinking some beers, and there was one of the teammates, older guy. He's like, "Hey, where you going?" I was like, SDV1. He's like, "Man, I keep a bag of cocaine in my locker just in case I get orders there. I'm walking to skipper's desk, slap it on there. It's hard, man.
That's it. Every team guy I've ever talked to says that's the fucking hardest job in the teams. Like every fucking dude I've ever talked to.
Because it's reconnaissance. It's our insert. It's the most clandestine insertion platform. I mean, we'll go in over the horizon, then over the beach for 2 weeks. I mean, and then come back out.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, I'd rather run at machine guns than do that.
Well,
if you're like, come do this, you don't have to go back to war mat. I'm like,
7 hours in a pitch black fucking water, or you can go run over that machine gun nest. Gotcha.
Yeah, give me the machine gun nest.
Definitely died. My longest was 11 hours, a little over that. And
on the submersible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And you said you're inside that thing. With the cockpit closed, just cockpit.
Yeah.
there?
If you're not driving, if you count on the recon team, the whole thing's.
How many of you are in there?
You can't say.
I can't say that.
Before you start.
Yeah.
Speed window.
Is there an actual nomenclature for that that's public information?
Yeah, they put something out there.
Yeah, they've got some videos of
they ask
some
how
of it.
deep it can go. It'll go all the way to the
Because I think
bottom.
just for context, a lot of the listeners probably don't know what you guys are talking about. It's the reconnaissance sub.
Dude, it's
submarine delivery vehicle.
It's small, yeah.
It's about the size of a truck, maybe.
How many people?
We just said.
And then,
but yeah,
it's wet inside. That breaks up the signature. I mean, for instance, I remember one time we were testing the security for the nuclear submarines in the harbor at this place. And they had everybody there, even from the government. They're like, all right, send your boys in. And then the night kept progressing. And finally, the guys started to complain, like, hey, you guys are going to go in here and hit this? We'd already been in and come out and took a picture. So it's
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's
like these guys even going to go beep beep. New message from Marco. Oh, fuck. Middle finger. Yeah.
The other thing that I fucking love talking about is the dolphins, dude. The dolphins, the fucking story. So I had one dude, and I worked with him for several years, and he was a retired Master Chief. So he's like he went all around he started an SDV, and then he ended his career over with the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, at the mammal cage.
Yeah, and dude. So I didn't know this, and he's like blowing my mind for like fucking months on end. I'm like just picking his brain, like you got to tell me about this shit, man. Like dolphins.
Is it real? By the way,
oh yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
real.
it's fucking. Yeah, it's real. And he's like, Oh, they're fucking horny as hell, and they will try to fuck you.
That's where dolphin
They will
rape is
try
real
to
came
fuck
from.
you.
When we used to make that
Yeah,
joke,
yeah,
is
yeah,
because
yeah.
guys that were divers would like, yeah, they're just fucking horny little fuck animals. Like, it was real. That's why we made it the joke
insane.
about
I
it.
accidentally, we were doing a dive in the harbor past the mammal cage, and they tell you, like, don't go up to the mammal cage. Because they're anti-swimmer mechanisms. They're taught to combat insurgency, underwater insurgency.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're on top of the water, you're kind of golden. But as soon as you go down, stand by, because what they can do to you and what they've been trained to do, and they can find mines and all that stuff like that. It's not just
The dolphins?
Yeah, they're attack. They're attack dolphins.
No, I know. You ever seen with the vest and shit on there? I don't know if that's real.
Dude.
It looks fucking
Yeah, yeah,
nar
Before you
Is
go
that
into
real?
this, like the fucking Russians had orcas. No shit.
that'd be terrible.
Trained.
They had
orcas.
fucking trained anti-swimmer.
Oh my
orcas.
god! Could you imagine having to go up
Fucking
against that?
let that sink in, motherfucker. Like let that sink in. You're swimming along, going, dude, I'm
Send
super
the
fucking
orcas.
squirrel, a fucking orca.
How does that even possible? Like, how do you train a dolphin or an orca for that
like
line
you
of
train a
work?
dog.
How do you train them to fucking jump out of a
Highly trained
goddamn
mammals,
pool
man.
into a hoop?
They're highly intelligent.
Super intelligent.
Dude, it took a lot to just to house train my
A
dog.
bucket
let
of
alone a-
herring and the will.
Really?
And the passion to train an orca.
Yeah,
That's all it
passion.
takes, Ross.
Wow.
And you know me,
how
I
the
love my
Russians
orcas,
don't give
dude.
a fuck.
If you
The
go,
Russians don't give a fuck.
No.
Like, yeah.
I wish
Anti-swimmer
if he could
orcas.
tell us, that'd be rad. If we had orca fucking counter swimmers, that'd
Do
be
we?
badass. I don't know.
I don't know.
He said he
That
stays
was
away
a
from the
long
mammal cage.
pause there, Marcus.
I
So what happened when you swam near the mammal
Yeah,
cage?
yeah. You got to tell us this
We
shit.
swam into it. And I kind of came up in the water, and I was like, man, we shouldn't be hitting anything right now. And I grabbed the cage. It was the square metal cage, you know. I kind of hit that thing, and that thing hit that cage, and I was, kind of one of those deals. Like, we need to go this way right now. So yeah, I mean, anything under the water. You know,
What's the craziest thing you've run into? Because a lot of team guys that I used to work with in another profession would always like, you'd be diving or swimming, and then you just run into this like massive like big fucking tail or something hits you in the middle of the water, and they just be like, they can't see shit, and they're just like, fuck my life, I hope it doesn't eat me.
Yeah, so you start getting messed with in kind of in buds by the seals when you're out doing hydro reconnaissance. They'll come in and get all curious, and then on the Zodiacs we were doing over the horizon. I'll never forget this. We're coming back right as sun's about to come up. Everybody's got monkey ass so bad you can't even see straight, and everybody was asleep but the guy driving, and then JJ was up in the front, and all of a sudden he comes out of a dead sleep and has his rifle. He starts banging it on the boat, and then he pulls his knife out and starts to go. And then you can smell this fish. And we kind of look up, and he stands up. He's bleeding from the face real bad. And one of those flying fish that you see in San Diego came into the boat and smashed him right in the grill, man. Yeah, and they pulled us down one time. They blew us down. Remember, we were kind of. I think it might have been a full moon, or it might have been right in the dusk, and all of a sudden it just got real cloudy, and there was a school of hammerheads came over the top of us. So we just kind of hung down. And then one time I got pulled out of the water. My chief's like, I almost blew you up, man. There's a shark kind of hanging around you guys, checking you out. But every time you get in the water, that's the one thing you got to kind of clear out of your head. I mean, you just kind of want to stay next to your swim buddy, and hopefully he gets hit. But you can help him. But
Are there lots of shark attacks? I wouldn't imagine.
not on us.
No, I wouldn't imagine that.
I mean, after how many buds classes are they up to now? Like
3 something, yeah.
and nobody's ever been
Mm-mm.
attacked
Yeah,
out
not gonna
there.
work.
And that's in the, what do they call that? The red
Triangle, yeah.
Yeah.
At third phase, when we're out on the island, right before we do the swim through the kelp
beds.
Yeah, kelp beds. And, they're huge, right? And they put us in a classroom all day and make us watch shark attack videos.
That's so fucking cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love psychological
I love that
warfare,
shit.
dude.
And then you
So
go down
good.
there and you got chem lights hanging everywhere. And I'll never forget, we got down, there was a fur seal laying on the beach, had his head bitten off. Right before we were fixing to go in. I never swam that fast in my entire life.
I bet the instructors put it out.
so
They love it. Because they'll
good.
get down under the water and come up behind you and grab you and do all, it's mind warfare like you can't believe.
So fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
Chopping off the head of a seal, though. That's
No, I think that he actually got hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looked pretty realistic.
I think that's what a shark attack looks like. All right.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when we do the 2 mile ocean swims out in the front right there, you see the shrimping boats or the fishing boats will pull up and start dumping their chum. And
great
when the
idea.
seagulls are flocking, everything else in the water is too.
Jesus.
So
Do you still go in the water a lot?
I do absolutely love it.
Do you think most team guys are that way? Like, or some of them are
it's
like,
the
keep me
beach.
the fuck out of the water?
It's the beach that's the problem because that's where we get tortured. And Mellie's a beach bunny. She's like, let's go hang out on the beach. Oh, yeah. I'll go hang out in the water. I just want to hang out on the beach.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get tortured there all the time. But now there is something to the water. They say that she's the Pacific. She's the womb that we're born from, and she's the womb we return to when we're in trouble. And it's truly that thing. I mean, that's kind of unique about our program is that we not only have to train for whatever it is we're doing, but we also have to respect her all the time. Because just as fast as she would give us life, man, she'll snatch it away from you. I mean, you want to know how small you are? Water is the most powerful element on the planet. I mean, it'll erase anything. Nothing you can't condense it. You can't contain it if it doesn't want to be contained. So kind of when you get in there, it's one of those deals. If you focus too hard on what you're doing and disrespect her, man, she'll own you.
Well, you see with the hurricanes. I mean, these last 2, like it wiped out an entire city in Florida. I mean, it's all the way around. The water will get you.
Oh yeah, I mean for instance, when we're going out, we got our rucks. We have a tow line, right? So you go out, you swim through the zone, and you kind of pull your ruck through it. And I thought I was out a couple of times, like, oh, this is an easy day, and all of a sudden, and the rip goes the other way, pulling you towards shore, and then wind up back on the beach, like a log. That didn't work. I mean,
time to do it again.
Yeah. So I think I racked around 2,700 hours of bottom time while I was in, and
Jesus,
man, it's something. The coolest thing I think was when at Pearl, because when we do our dives around there, the Arizona and the Utah and everything, so we actually get to see those underwater.
Right.
And swimming up there and paying your respects. On the top of the water, it looks like a bunch of scrap metal. Underwater, it's a battleship.
Right.
I mean, and our brothers and sisters are still in there, so we get a chance to go in and kind of pay our respects and see that, and that's a luxury that no one else gets afforded, kind of deal. And there are a lot of perks to having that job and being able to do that stuff. But yeah, it's hard, man. That STV part of it.
Man. Well, listen, since we're so close to midterms and all that stuff, I saw you speak at the Republican National Convention for Trump. Has anybody asked you to come out and stump for them midterm-wise?
No, I've been on the road. So busy. All the time, actually.
Really?
Oh, is it really? Yeah. I figured, right?
Right. I'm kind of one of them guys. I gotta know a little bit about you, and before I put my name, I work. Where our reputation's all we have. We can do something good every single day for years and do something bad. So before we go out and put my name on something, nowadays, I gotta.
I figured that you're one of the guys that's at the top of that list all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been out to the White House recently? Have you?
No, I hadn't been in a while.
Since Trump got in?
Yeah, that was the last time.
Really?
Yeah.
DC? No, we were in DC.
Yeah.
For that. Yeah, we went to the
inauguration.
Yeah, it's something to watch our transition of power. I mean, that's the best thing about this country, man, is you can be born nothing with no money and literally become a king. We don't call it kings, but you can wield the most powerful military and be in charge of a country of people where from every direction you look, the color is different and the religion, that's what's so unique about us and so what's so wonderful about us that we transition that type of power every 4 to 8 years. And when you see it, no matter who's going in there, man, it's awe inspiring to see what we've created and as a, country of everybody. I kind of like to say, I'm a junkyard dog, man. I protect trash or treasure. It doesn't matter. If you're in here, that's what I do, man. I can bleed and take pain. And when you get a chance to see that kind of commitment to ourselves and what we've enabled our leadership to have is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, because it's one of those things you see on television, and assuming you were there, and to see it up close like that. And then I heard there's like banquets and dinners and all that. So did you go to all that?
We did. Yeah, we did. It's really something. I mean, it's kind of like inaugural ball. I mean, women are dressed to their nines and they look fantastic in those flowing gowns. And my tux, matter of fact, I was so squared away. I got 2 of them just in case one was wrong, and both of them, the pants were up to my knee. It was a pretty good time, man. So
Does it get wild? That was my next question.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just think.
Oh, wow. For the audience at home on my audio show, Melanie just said that Marcus spoke at Vice President Pence's inaugural dinner. That's amazing.
Was kind of one of those moments where I was standing backstage and it was just me and the president and the vice president. in my head, I was like, what in the hell am I doing back here? I mean,
Trump was probably thinking the same thing too, though. Like, yo, how did I get in here?
I was like, hey, this is amazing, right? Pulled off a miracle.
Is that what it's like?
Oh man, it was. It was like I said. It was something, man. It truly it doesn't matter who's in there. We back them up. That's our job, and just to appreciate the fact that there really are no sides in this in this country, man. It's kind of one team, one fight. I like to tell people, the first responder uniforms, you smash all those together, you get camouflage. You start pulling those colors away from it, you get the first responders, the doctors, and everybody that takes care of ourselves, and we're the ring around everything that's wonderful inside of this. And always make sure that you think about it when you're watching something on TV and people getting upset. How many people watch this? And a lot of times people go off on the numbers, but it's kind of the same thing as going to a Super Bowl and getting upset what the cheerleaders are doing. In the big scheme of things, it's not as chaotic as you would imagine. And I know that because I travel around almost every day, city to city, state to state, and my specialty was reconnaissance. I mean, I study people and the environment and what's going on around it. And man, I know that we've all been through a lot. And I think right now what's happening is it's just got the generations are just slamming together. Baby boomers are in charge right now, and our generation has been in the longest war, 20 years, Gen X. The X-Men, it's our time to kind of come into the fold. Right. And the millennials, I remember hearing bad stuff about our generation when we graduated and we came out into the breach, so to speak. But, we're a little bit of the old and the new. That's our blessing, right? We saw it before the internet and everything. The millennials, man, they just have way too much information, not enough life experience. So when they get into a situation, they kind of throw the wrong emotion out. I mean, if you took a kid who was 10 years old back in the 1900s and put him in a room with an iPhone, he'd be almost God, right? Because this thing can tell the future. Yeah. And it's just, I think it's also great. Social media is great because you get an idea of what everything is, and the way this podcast and everything's going. Literally, got to throw a GoPro on and go in the war and tell you what's going on, right? There's no third person rendering of what it's kind of. Well, some journalists have turned into antagonists, right? It's like the kid in the high school is like, "Hey, did you hear what he said? Hey, man, did you hear what he said?" And then they go, "If I said that, I would never say that, but if I did say it, I would say it like this." I'm like, "Well, you just said it, man." So why don't we just take a step back and just relax a little bit and understand that the head shed, the America's like a family. The first mom and dad live in the White House. Then you got the aunts and uncles that are in Congress and the Senate. Football team owners, you look at them as like the counts, right, and the dukes, because they have an army. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it just bleeds into us, because if you're in your family and you love everybody in the house, even if they're crazy and they do stupid stuff, it's still your crazy uncle. And then when you step outside, that's your neighbor. You're supposed to treat him just like you treat yourself. And then from your home to your town to your city to your state to your government, it's all the same. But somewhere along the lines, you get somebody in the middle who likes to stir up some crap, and the other people are too far apart, and they just hear things. And it's okay to get upset and to question everything. That's what we're supposed to do. That's how we keep everybody on the level. But never forget that this is kind of one family. I mean, we fight for each other, bleed for each other. And,
Nicole said last night something super creative. The wing. It's like
there's right wing, there's left wing,
and they don't realize they're on the same bird.
Right.
So you just got this mess flapping.
And the overall body of the United States, and people, when it's cool to be liberal, we like to do that. We like to be funky and fresh and progressive and do stuff.
Don't point at me when you say those things.
I'm just,
there is nobody more funky and fresh than you.
I know you're listening.
I'm not funky and fresh at all, man.
And then you
can look at me.
Yeah, the conservatives, man, who like, hey, man, you just figured this out, and it's great. So let's appreciate it for a little bit. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, let's enjoy this. You're ready to go to something else, and there's still some people suffering, or this, and we haven't got this all the way figured out. So kind of just slow down a little bit, and then we'll drag the rest of us up here. And that's what the center of the hourglass kind of deal. That's where you want to stay.
Yeah, my thing is this.
Who's your favorite Democrat?
Yeah.
Like, that you hang out with, you're like, okay, I can accept the fact that you're a progressive.
I was just going to ask that question. Like, who is it? Yeah, because everybody assumes everybody's Republican. Who is your favorite Democrat?
I have friends that are Democrats.
Same, yeah.
Well, I don't judge my friends off of their political opinions, because that's just a title. And I have so many friends all across the board in Hollywood.
Your wife just screamed out Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, Anderson Cooper. I mean, look, I spend time. I know them off the thing what they're saying, and they care about the same things that everybody else. I'll be in a room somewhere and be like, "Hey, don't say anything." I'm like, "Okay, I'll keep secret." And they'll tell me something. And I'll walk around next door and be like, "Hey, don't say anything about it." But you just said you guys don't talk. Not only why don't you stop talking, why don't you just listen? All right,
Yeah.
because I mean, if it does fall apart, then what?
Right.
What's the idea after that? And I mean, let's never forget how important we are to each other, and that all that bickering and stuff like that is just to hammer that stuff out. No one's going to be completely happy. Can't be. It's a family. You know what I mean? You keep the wife happy, and then everything else gets into place. And which means we need to keep our women happy. They can usually drive us in the right direction. I mean, you know as well as I do, they did a study what happens when you remove women. It's called prison. We tear each other apart. You throw one woman in the mix and guys will settle down. I mean, if there was one woman on the planet and all men, we'd tear this place apart. Countries have fallen over it. You know, the deal at King, he get rid of the son and daughter and all that other mess. That wife, she ain't going nowhere. And if you do take her, I'm going to bring my whole army over the sea and crush you over a woman. You know, and it's just, it's kind of that deal, man. If they're
Happy spouse, happy house.
yeah, that's
exactly.
it, man.
Yeah.
And you know, they're the greatest gift, the Holy Grail. They're life everlasting. You know what? I mean, that's what that is. We can't create life without them. Period.
Well, now's the point in the show where we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the week, or it could be a bro-ets. Would it be your wife, you think, in this world? Is she the one that holds this all together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I grew up with my friends, like I said, and I still have the same ones. And what I like to say is, and same way with you guys, we're family now, man. You guys have a strength that I possess as a weakness, and I'm confident when I'm around you guys. I was never the lead. I'm a battery. Throw me in the middle, not the voice of reason or anything like that. And when we were running together, we created something that you can't break. I mean, but anytime we're around our friends, your armor goes up because it's a guy thing, and I need to be able to protect you at any given time or see something that you can't see. And a woman can see through that, our armor. Each one of them are a gift to teach you something about yourself. And what I tell people who aren't married, and if you're looking for the right one, there's a battle between two wolves that lives inside all of us. One is evil. It's hate, rage, discontent, all that. And then the other one is good, and it's truth and loyalty and love. And how you know which one of those wolves win is the one you feed, right? And we fed the dark and the light wolf. But when you walk up to her, I met my wife on a blind date. The minute she lifts her head up at first, both those wolves showed up at the same time. I didn't know which, because a woman will drag one of them out. You don't want to go out with her and go crazy and show her off and do all that, or you want to go back and you want to, hey, I'm going to show you nobody. We're going to watch some movies. I don't care if it's a Notebook or whatever.
I love the Notebook. So that's cool. It's a great film. Great film.
Yeah. And man, when you show up and both those guys, I didn't know what to do. I was like, what should I do here? And I tell people my wedding ring, man, it's all bent up like this is because that's that warrior that last 40 years that tries to get out every now and again. But if I wake up every morning and wait for my marching orders, and life's a lot easier. I mean, our sword and our shield belong to our people. We got crazy with it, and that was our job. But when you enter the one only and you do what she says and keep her happy, man, everything else kind of falls into place. And it's easier for us because we're soldiers, man. I mean, that's why our muscles are on the outside. We're built to take pain. Protection and enforcement. That's my job.
I like
America.
Well, Melanie
Learn from this,
Luttrell.
Jared.
And where were you talking about before we went on the air, Melanie? Your parents, the farm, the ranch. Yes. What was the name of it? The Lazy J. Great, yeah. So if you're in Texas,
Don't go to the Lazy J.
Hey, so here's a quick
Unless you want
Marcus
people to.
Marcus small world and or funny story. So I get a call one day and he's like, "Hey, is this Evan?" I was like, "Yeah." Hey, Marcus told me you're a pretty good dude. I should give you a call. And I was like, "Who? Hi. Well, this is Secretary Perry. Just figured I'd give you your buzz like we're buddies."
Rick Perry.
Governor Perry, hello. Yes, I am your buddy. According to Marcus, we are friends, sir. How do I pronounce? Sorry,
Should we go with full
like-
titles here, or what am I doing?
I can say enough good things about you, Marcus. Like he went on and on. I actually think he just called me to tell me how much that he liked you, and which I was like, that's totally fine.
Anyways, Evan, that's how cool Marcus is. I'll catch you later.
Hey, anyways, Evan, whatever your fucking name is, he wouldn't have said that, but he was like, yeah, whatever. But he literally called to welcome us to Texas. Like literally just called us to say thanks for moving to Texas. I live in the San Antonio area. If you guys ever need anything, and Marcus and Crispy, I guess, had said something. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's a lot of people don't know this. When I got out of the military, right before I went back to Ramadi, they were in San Diego to tour the Buds compound. And then he's like, "Hey, if you're ever in Texas when you get back, come over for a steak dinner." Well, I was back and I was out, and I walked over and I was like, hey, how about that dinner? And I left 4.5 years later because I met my wife or my family. I mean, that Lady Perry, she was a nurse. They're the ones that put me in the direction to get all my surgeries and healed up. And then by default, I just palling around with him. That's how I learned that political world and what he did, and the longest serving governor in Texas. And I mean, he's an amazing man. He truly is. I mean, the guys, as we go through life, we run into different stones, if you will. Some of them will sharpen us up, some of us will dull us out, and some of us will polish us. Women usually, that's the polishing stone. And if you stand around one long enough and you start to get dull, you probably need to move on. And I don't know why guys do this. We probably don't talk about it openly, but like we have pillars in our life, like men we run into that can teach us something that guys like, hey, why do you even hang out with them? I was like, I don't know, man, he's teaching me something. And they just kind of took me into the fold and raised me and got me back on track and been in my life ever since, man. They're an amazing family. And he truly loves this country. Yeah. And I praise constantly for, whoever's running it and empowered. Doesn't matter that line doesn't matter. He's just genuinely a great guy, man. When he called you, he means that. Oh, you could tell. You could tell he meant it. He's like, yeah, anytime you want to come out, and I can't do a good Texas accent, but he was like, anytime you want to come out, like, just hang out, maybe barbecue, like, let that sink in. Like, just come out, hang out, and have a barbecue or something.
You free the following
Me and a couple
Saturday,
buddies.
or?
He's like, me and a couple buddies. He's a former 4-star general. Another guy, like, we're just gonna go play poker at the house. They grew up together. Like, it's badass. Yeah, that's what he was saying. They have a comp when they were kids growing up, man. When they like, hey, when we get done with chasing our dreams, let's all move and live in the same spot, and they did. And that's what I do too, man. Just kind of guys I grew up with. At land, we got that. So it's the same thing. Matt and I, when we get done with Black Rifle, we're gonna get married. Yeah, it's the same. Why wait? Deal.
I'm gonna move next door.
Why wait?
Yeah, just to watch.
We've been trying to have kids for a long time.
Yeah.
There's that Drinkin Bros. There it is. It's tough.
One last question before I let you get out of here. We all met on the set of Range 15, obviously.
Thanks again, man. I was doing that.
It was a blast, and it was my pleasure. But these guys had all talked about how amazing you were and all that stuff. I had only seen the film, obviously. The one thing I was surprised when I met you was you didn't have a Boston accent. Yeah. Did he? Why did he not attempt one?
I told him not to. That was he
didn't even attempt a Texas accent. I was like,
So when it came down to, because all the other actors, I mean, I spent time with them, and they spent time with their families to kind of learn the details and how they needed to portray. But Mark, he had me, and when we first met, the way he does his acting and the way he learned, we just kind of started hanging out. So we became friends. Sure. And he's like, you got anything you want me to? I was like, no. I was like, this is your wheelhouse. You're the pro. You just do your thing, man. I was like, just if you can do me a favor, just don't try the Southern accent, all right? Because a lot of times, boss, you don't pull it off very well. And that line in the movie right before he takes that first shot, and he's like, I'm about fixing to. Yeah. I was like, I thought I told you not to do that. Those two words don't go together. That's, it's country and redneck. You can't slam them guys.
I'm about fixing to.
Yeah. So that was your call on that.
No, but
okay,
I did just to stick with it.
Just absolutely.
Man, he's a great guy. He's a great family man. He's
awesome. Great entrepreneur.
That's what.
Man,
acting's
business sense. Yeah.
That's just one thing.
Yeah, that's the thing to me to get him to the other stuff. I mean, how many Wahlburgers are open in the country now?
That's right. I mean,
I don't know.
Anybody and everybody around. I mean, he still runs around with the same crew.
Really?
Yeah, same guys.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry.
Like the Funky Bunch? Does he still call him the Funky Bunch?
No, but you've seen Entourage. So that was based on his life.
Yeah. I'm just being a little bit of
No, but I had dinner with him maybe 15 years ago, right? And nice place, nice restaurant, and the turtle character. The guy comes up to the dinner table wearing a Boston Celtics jersey, no undershirt, and a nice steakhouse with like a sideways hat on. And I was like, all he did was stand in front of the table. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, oh, it's my buddy. He's my security or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. He can just roll around in a Celtics jersey inside this nice steakhouse in L.A. And they were like, yeah, he can do that. And I was like,
I think you Drama and Jared's turtle?
Oh, in real life?
He's E for sure.
I've not seen enough of it to understand.
He's like the guy that's yelling at people on the phone all the time.
He's the
and
manager.
Then yelling at us to be on time.
I'm the one. I'm the one that talks Matt into spending large amounts of money on really weird shit.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Victory is the same as
Matt doesn't spend large amounts of money on weird shit.
That's super funny.
I know.
Yeah,
that's the crew he grew up with. Before he had any, they love each other.
Yep.
I mean, they would take a baseball bat to anybody if
Oh, and that's real, by the way.
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Take baseball bats to
Yeah.
motherfuckers. Now we're talking, Marcus.
We had the same acting coach, and his name was Vincent Chase, and he ended up naming the lead character after him. And I asked him, I don't know, first weekend or whatever, I just moved to LA, and I was like, "What's Mark really like?" And he was like, "Oh, he'll kick the shit out of you, like without blinking." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." And he was about that life, and I was like, "Shit, all right, cool." And I'm assuming that's why you guys got.
Along perfectly.
Yes.
And then, but he's married, like that part of us is, but our crews are still running around with us, and it's that loyalty thing. I mean, you grow up with somebody your entire life. It's not like they're going to find out something about you that someone that you just met, like, wait, that? And you're like, yeah, I knew about it happening in high school or whenever. If you go through puberty with some guy, and you go through all that hardship, man, they just watch out for each other. As a matter of fact, when I walk on a set, I can find out where he's. I just follow his crew.
Right.
They're there.